Hello, everybody. Dr. F. Scott Field here, and I'd like to introduce you to our newest sponsor. The NPTE Final Frontier is the review course that I wish was around when I took the board exam. For those of you who know my story, it took me a handful of times to pass that exam, and quite frankly, I really wish I had an exam review course around, just like the NPTE Final Frontier. Check out their website, npteff.com, and use the code HET at checkout for 10% off to all of our listeners and fans. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Healthcare Education Transformation Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. F. Scott Field, and I've got with us today a lovely guest, Vidhi Radia. Vidhi is a physical therapist, but also has a interesting position within the NPTE Final Frontier group we're going to talk a little bit about today. So I'm super excited about that. Vidhi, why don't you tell us a little bit about your educational background and how it led you to where you're at today?
Hi, everyone. I am Vidhi, and I am originally from India. I did my bachelor's in physical therapy in India. In 2016, I came to the United States at University of Pittsburgh, and where I did my master's, and then I went on to do my MBA from University of the Cumberlands. Right now, I'm almost 4 years out of school, passed my NPTE, and working as a clinical manager in an outpatient physical therapy clinic. About NPTE Final Frontier, I first took their course in 2018 when I sat for my NPTE, and oh boy, that changed everything for me because it's difficult. You know, these exams, the boards are difficult. No matter how much you study throughout your school and everything, it's difficult. And they, I think, helped me tremendously. And since then, since 2018, I've been a part of Final Frontier family. And I think I enjoy it more than anything else.
Yeah, we were talking a little bit before the show about how I wish that the NPT Final Frontier existed back when I took the test, I think when I took it, it was about, 2006 or so. And it took me a handful of times to pass that exam. It was tough. And I couldn't find, there wasn't really review courses back then. You kind of just went with like the old score builders textbook or whatever. They brought you in for a weekend, kind of showed you how the test looked, what the layout was and the percentage of breakdown for, sections. And then you the second day you went over a couple of review questions, and then they kind of sent you on your way with a book and a CD-ROM, with a couple of practice tests on it. And that really wasn't how I learned. That wasn't really conducive to me. I actually found out later in life that I was not a very good learner anyway. I was more of a rote memorization guy, and that is not learning. As many of you know, and I've said this time and time again, rote memorization is not true learning. And it took me going through an entire EDD program to figure that out. So kind of a sad state of education for myself, but I was an English major before I became a PT, so it was a lot of learning curve for me anyway. But Vidhi, why don't you tell us a little bit about your involvement in the NPTE Final Frontier, because you're in a special kind of a position where, people think NPTE Final Frontier and it's just a test review for the NPTE, right, or the PTA exam or whatever, right? But you guys are actually taking it a step further. And I love the fact that you really have built a community around this, review course and these study groups and this test. And now you're taking it even a step further. So why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
So everybody knows NPTE Final Frontier. Now, this is a branch of the Final Frontier family, which is called the Career Final Frontier. When we sat down in a meeting one day all together, trying to think about how can we advocate for our students that we've had for so long. They trust us. We have an 11-week program. Now, you would think it's only 11 weeks, but that actually really builds a firm trust between us and the students that they start to believe in us. Now, how can we take that trust a step forward? How can we help them not just to get through their exams, but also in their career, in their life, as to getting a job, where to get a job, who do they trust, what is the right wage, if this resume looks right, how do I negotiate a salary? All of these things, we had a lot of students come up to us and ask us all these questions, and we were helping them via messages, via phone calls, but we finally thought that, okay, this is the right time. I think the field needs us a little more than just the exam, and that's where Career Final Frontier came to a launch, and we started to actually help people in all these areas that I mentioned. May it be making a resume, finding a job, negotiating a salary, trying to see, okay, if these benefits are right, if something mentioned in your offer letter seems legit or this shouldn't be there, all that kinds of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it makes total sense, right? As a natural progression, you have these students that are studying really tough. They're, working their hardest and they're trying to figure things out, and, they're nervous, they're anxious. You guys give them the confidence and the wherewithal to take this exam, to step up into their own and really be confident about it, and take and pass the NPTE, the very tough final board exam for physical therapy, right? Well, then what happens after that, right? They just drop off and good luck, all right, our job is done here, right? No, the next step is really navigating and figuring out a career path for these new grads and these newly licensed physical therapists and physical therapy assistants, right? Anybody who has the opportunity to get some form of mentorship or career directional help, that's huge. And again, like I said, I think the cool part about it is it's built around a community. You guys have done a really good job building up community. So why don't you talk a little bit about that and how it's more than just, people studying for an exam, but how you really have worked to build this network and this community of people that really got each other's back, and they're there for each other, and they, enjoy hanging out and talking and having discussions.
Yeah. So we have an alumni group now. We have the main Facebook page that is there as an educational page on Facebook, which has all our students in there. Okay, we have a good amount of conversation every day about questions, any concerns that they might have, anything that they don't understand in class, they could put up there. Now that's when you're in the 11-week program or after or before. You don't have to be in the program to be in that group. It's an open educational group. And then we have a group where if you're in the full life class for a certain quarter of your exam, you'll be put in that group. What happens after you pass all of this and you're an alumni, you're an alumni from a school? This is like a coaching program, but you become an alumni, and then you get into the alumni NPTE Final Frontier group. We have a very big community of thousands of people in there that have passed with us and stay with us in that alumni group. And that is where we're building a community for Career Final Frontier, where we want to do group discussions. We do once a month, monthly discussion to advocate for them, what we can change on our side. Bhupinder Singh has a pretty good catch over there, and he really helps and advocates and brings on the discussions over there. And through Career Final Frontier, that community is where we help. Now, someone would ask me, what if I'm not a Final Frontier student? What if I don't have the mentorship? I haven't taken the course with Final Frontier. Am I still allowed to use services for my career? I just want advice on career. And that's absolutely where this belongs. You don't have to be a student for Final Frontier or have to have a certain course taken with us to be able to use the services for your career. You can very well go on the website and choose what's best for you, or get in touch with either of us team members, and we can help you out at any stage. You don't have to be a student or a member of the Final Frontier family.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, it really is a door, right? A new opportunity for people to come in your pipeline and kind of learn about things like, resume or CV type stuff, right? And tightening that up and really getting ready to put their best foot forward. I know I've heard a lot of students have had success with some mock interviews and practice interviews and stuff with people, and that's worked very well. And then just like you said, knowing a contract and what it looks like. Is this good? Is this normal? Are there red flags in there? Are there things I should run away from,
Right.
So I think that's very helpful, because again, being on the other side of the coin now and teaching in academia, we don't always have time to touch on as much of that stuff as we'd like to, because again, we're trying to get them prepped and ready for the NPTE, right? So a lot of times there's not enough room for it in the curriculum. And I always used to think that that was kind of a cop out, like, oh, we don't have enough time to teach, there's too much stuff already stuffed into the curriculum. But now I see it and I get it. It's true. I do think if it's really important to you, you'll find ways to kind of weave it into the curriculum. So I've tried to do that a lot with my classes and with my students. Luckily, we've got some good student special interest group for after hours that kind of helps. But that's kind of like what you guys are doing too, is giving them more opportunities than just study groups, more opportunities to reach out, to talk to people, to interact. And what's even more important, I think, is building their network. You're helping them build their network, not only out, in whatever setting or whatever city they want to work in, but now with the Facebook group and with all the other career opportunity groups that you've got going on. Now these new grads have an instant built-in network where they can actually reach out to people across the country that maybe they know are specializing in a certain, population or a body part or a setting or something like that. And they can keep coming back to this group and asking questions and really fostering that network. Why don't you touch a little bit and just talk about the importance of a network? Because I know I tell my students that's one of the first things they should be doing on day one as a student is starting to build their network.
So that's correct. I love that. I mean, networking is everything. And it's a saying that you don't know when someone can be of help to you. So saying a casual hi to someone could mean a lot, maybe 2 days later or 5 days later or 5 years later, and you don't know how good that would work out for you. Not just people from your classmates or from your batch of students, but the ones that are senior to you, the ones that are junior to you. Anybody in the community that is really connected to or from the PT environment. Not even that, even today, if I were to give you an example, I have patients in my clinic that I see all the time. They have their nieces and nephews or their kids who want to be pursuing PT, and they sort of talk to us and build a connection, and then ask, they gently ask us, would you be able to help my child or my niece or my nephew to get through how to go about this? What do you think? Is it worth it? And stuff like that. So just a simple conversation with someone could go a long way. And with Career Final Frontier, what we're trying to do is everybody that is interested could go up on the website for careerfinalfrontier.com and drop in their resumes. It's for free. You don't have a charge. You don't have to pay for anything. You just drop your resume and put your interests in. That way we have a collection of interest that, okay, this person is interested in, suppose, outpatient, ortho, this state, this city. And I have a track of all of that. Now, we have really good clients with us that partner with us, and we trust them. We are only doing partnership with clients that we trust on, because we want to advocate for our students. So we're not trying to partner with anybody that comes our way, but we're trying to really scrutinize who we partner with so that we know that we're sending our students to those people. So in a way, if you drop a resume, that's also building a network. That way I know you through your resume. I can have a phone call with you, learn your interests. You never know. It may be a match sometime in the future, or near or far future. You never know.
Yeah, I love that. And again, that's one of the reasons that we at the HET podcast have chosen to, partner with you guys as well, because I just love what you guys are doing. Like I said, I wish that this had been around back when I took the exam, but we had David and Emily on in before, and we're going to, probably have a couple more of you guys on as the years go on. And one of the things that we kind of asked, and this is a bit of a loaded question because of the position you're in, but, what is your favorite part of the NPTE Final Frontier group? What's your favorite thing that you guys are doing? What do you love about it so much?
I think the thing that I love the most is that the team members are so connected and committed to a cause in helping a student. We wouldn't sit back and think, oh, has this student paid us? Has this student gone through us? Or they're doing another review group, or they're not yet signed up, and should we help them or not? No, every single team member is dedicated on this journey to help the student, whenever, wherever, whoever. It doesn't matter where you're from. It doesn't matter how much do you know. If you know as little as a drop, we will help you to fill that drop and make it to wherever you want it to be. I've had Bhupender Singh actually helped me through the hardest time when in 2018, when I was having difficulty even deciding should I take an exam or not. And I know that stands still even today, 4 to 5 years later. If I were to call him any time of the day, I know I will hear back. There is not a disconnect between the person who owns and who is the founder of this place to where I am today. So the connection and the dedication to help students is what I find really interesting. And that doesn't go away no matter what.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. I've met with Dr. Singh several times now, and had him on the podcast before, and super nice guy, super knowledgeable, and it's really, I'm just impressed with a lot of the people that are involved and are teaching and helping to mentor and helping to tutor a lot of these students through these testing situations. Everybody is just so smart, and it's a lot of terminal degrees, which is really good to see too. I just, again, applaud everybody over there at the team. I can't say enough good things about them as well. Vidhi, we've got one last question that we ask all of our guests, and that question is, if you could change one aspect of higher education, whether it be the DPT realm or otherwise, what aspect would you change, and how would you change it?
So my concern that I've seen in outpatient with a lot of university partnerships that we have for the clinical rotations with my company is that when they reach to their third year of clinical rotation, so that this is their last rotation, many times I've seen them struggle trying to reach to passing their clinical rotation and then having to take the NPTE right after. So what I see is that there is a lot of pressure on the student to actually finish their DPT, graduate, make sure they do very, very well in their last clinical, and then give their NPTE. And in the past few years that I've been a mentor for the students and I've been the clinical instructor, I've seen that because they have so many things on their plate in that end couple of months, I see that they end up not passing the exam and they're so stressed all day. I remember a student telling me that he would sleep with anxiety, have like worry all the time as to how he would finish, like being a student that his clinical instructor would want to see and pass the boards. So one thing that I would want to change definitely is the load of the clinical rotation and taking the NPTE right after. I think if there were NPTE Final Frontier attached to the program right away, that would take off so much pressure from the student's head as to not wanting to decide, okay, what should I study first? What should I study last? Because there's a timetable, there's a whole course set up for you as to what you have to do. And that would make it easy on the student to graduate, finish their rotation, and take the exam with ease. So I think the problem and solve to that was, for me, that I've seen in the last couple of years is this one.
Yeah, I think, that's a lot of cognitive load, we call it, in academia at the very end. It's a culmination of 3 years or more of learning. And then the clinical rotation, their final clinical rotation, which is basically working 40 hours a week and not getting paid for it, right? And then they have the exam after that. And some of them are, trying to take it a little early. Some of them are trying to, gear up, get ready for graduation and then take it. Either way, it's a lot. So I completely understand that. And, if there was a way to build in a little buffer time in between, a little downtime, that would be nice for sure. I don't know. I don't know if CAPD will be okay with that. I don't know if universities would be all right with that. I think, there's a lot of moving pieces there for sure. So it would be interesting to see how to tease that out and see what would fit best. But Vidhi, thank you so much for coming on and for educating our guests and our audience rather on all things NPTE, Final Frontier, and beyond. Now that you guys have got that career track, Where can people find you online on social media or on the interwebs if they have questions or want to follow up with you or just learn more about the program and what you're working on?
Sure. So they can email us at support@careerfinalfrontier.com. So careerff.com, support@careerff.com, or you can visit the website at careerfinalfrontier.com and you will get all the information. You're allowed to, like I said, drop a free resume, reach out to us. You can plainly go to our Facebook page of NPTE Final Frontier, drop in a message over there, and someone should be able to reach out to you. So there are several platforms as to how you can get to us. It's just one click away. We're just one click away.
Awesome. And we'll put all those links in the show notes so people can find you. And as always, if you guys use the code HET for anything NPTE Final Frontier related, you get 10% off. So thank you guys again for partnering with us. We appreciate everything you guys do and look forward to talking more to you guys in the future.
That's great. It was nice chatting with you today.
Absolutely.